to show you 3 extremely easy projects to jazz up these glass vases. All of these supplies that you see here, I have purchased at the dollar store. So this is an extremely economical projects to do, excluding this macramé rope. So I've got some jute rope, this printed burlap, which is so cool. I love it. And then a variety of glass vases. When you have items that you need to remove these nasty stickers, I find the easiest way to do that is to use a straight edged razor. You just want to catch the sticker just a little bit from underneath and carefully start scraping it with the razor. And hopefully it's going to catch most of the glue that's underneath there. Whatever's left over, you can also wipe off the glue residue with nail polish remover. The acetone in nail polish remover should remove most of the glue as well. And then of course there's always Goo Gone, which is great, but I don't have any more Goo Gone. My Goo Gone is all gone. And so I'm just gonna keep working on this sticker to get it off because, you know, $2.50 is a wonderful price to pay for this glass vase, but I don't want anybody to know that, and hopefully it's going to look a little bit more expensive once I've finished decorating it. The easiest project out of these 3 that I'm going to show you is wrapping the rope around the vase. So you want to start at the bottom and start wrapping all the way around. The best tip that I could give at this point is when you're starting, you want to cut the rope on an angle. Almost create a little point on the end. Add a little bit of hot glue just to start it off, close to the edge of the bottom. Not too much glue, you don't need very much. And this is just to hold it in place. Just a little piece of tape on there. And put it in place. Okay, and you see how I've got this, it's a bit of a point right there. Okay, and then we just keep adding more glue. Making sure it's as flush to the bottom as you can get it. And keep wrapping around. And then when you get to where you started, you want to make sure that you're covering as much of the glass as possible. So I'm just going to add a little bit more glue right there. Try and match it up so that it's as close to a line as possible. And then continue on with the next row. And I want to press the ropes together, right? I don't want to see any of the glass. This just keeps everything neat and tidy and straight. That's what we're aiming for, is to have nice horizontal lines. So press the rope together and pressed onto the glass. See, and I'm noticing that I went a little bit crooked here on the bottom, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of glue right here. I'm just gonna press it down. Even that out, just like that. Gonna keep going until I get about 2 or 3 rows. And then I don't have to put the glue all the way around the glass, and I'll show you that next. Okay, so now I've got 3 rows started here, and instead of continuously going all the way around, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a line, and that's going to hold this row in place and wrap it around nice and tight. And then there we go. Make sure it's nice and tight. Keep going. You don't want to do too much of the hot glue, just about an inch or so, because once it cools down, it won't work as well. It won't be as sticky. So you only want to work with the length of hot glue that you can work with before it cools down. So, like for example, this last row may not hold as well as the other ones, but it's probably going to be okay. I'm going to add a little bit more hot glue. And then keep wrapping it around. And then when you get to, 5 or 6 rows, once in a while, add a strip just for strength, just to tighten everything up. Kind of secures everything back in place again. So go back to the way you started, just by adding a row. Okay. So far, so good. Now, similar to how we started with the rope over here, and we sort of cut it on an angle, we're going to do the same thing here because I'm going to add another rope to it, and it just kind of hides the seam. It's similar to how carpenters do trimming. Your baseboards and your crown molding and stuff, they cut on an angle so that the eye doesn't see. The eye will see a hard line straight faster than it'll see something on angle when it's put together on an angle like that. So for this last little bit, I'm actually going to finish it off with a row so that it holds in place better. Finish this last little bit off. Secure that in place and smush it down as much as I can. And then we grab our second piece of rope. I'm going to estimate this is going to take 2 of these. Okay, cut that on an angle. And then add it in place. Maybe put a little bit of glue on the rope itself. Just to kind of hopefully blend these in so that the eye doesn't see it as much. It's kind of what we're hoping to do. Fortunately with the jute rope, it's coarse. That's a little bit, it's not as clean lined. So yeah, unless you're really looking for it, you're not going to notice that very much. So because I'm starting a new rope, I'm going to continue with a full bead around the glass. And then I just continue on like I had been with the other one. Coming to the very end of this one. So I'm just going to secure it in place. Once again, cut your rope. This time you want to cut your rope so that it's on an angle, but it's going to blend in to the vase itself. We're trying to make it disappear is basically what we're trying to do so that the eye doesn't notice it. So pop that in there. Add a little glue to the actual rope too. Sometimes help to kind of smoosh it all in. This is where your fingers might get a little bit burnt because you want to get in there when it's still warm. Push it all into place. And then any exposed hot glue, fortunately, hot glue comes off of glass fairly easily. So you can just push that back with your fingernail, clean that up, and there you have it. I'm gonna leave the upper glass here exposed. I like it. I like seeing that. So that's number 1. For this vase, simply going to wrap it with this printed burlap. So place the vase down and just kind of get a, kind of like when you're wrapping a Christmas present, just gotta put it on there and gotta get an estimate. cut it straight. And then I'm gonna wanna glue one edge. The first edge that I'm gluing to the glass vase, I'm leaving this overhang. We'll deal with that later. I just wanna, see, this is the corner of the vase. I just wanna add it, glue it right to the, as close to the edge as possible. And just bead a hot glue. Now this burlap has holes in it, so be super careful here because the glue is going to seep through. So sometimes it's better to just use like an old credit card or something other than your fingers to press down. Smooths it out nice. There, and you don't burn yourself. Okay, now I'm gonna take the rest of it and wrap it tight. And the idea here is to fold over the edge so that it matches, hopefully right to the corner. That's a little bit proud, so I'm gonna go a little bit tighter. Shorten that down just a little bit. And try and get it as straight as possible. Just like that. Now you can use a variety of different fabrics for this type of application. I really like the printed effect. I'm going to need some more hot glue or sticks. Okay. Just put another bead right along the edge, and again, go back to the using the credit card. Try and wrap it as tight as possible. You have a little bit of time to readjust. I didn't get that quite as tight. There we go. Okay, so next is to trim the top and the bottom. I'm going to take a straight-edged blade. And then you're just going to use the edge of the glass vase to actually press up against your blade to get a nice clean cut. And of course you want to cut away from your hands. There, makes it a nice clean cut. You can see that right there. Yeah, and let's do the same for the top. Now, to finish off, you know, the top and the bottom of this to make it just a little bit more decorative, I'm gonna go back to the jute rope and I'm gonna glue all along the edge. So I'm gonna find that seam and I'm gonna consider this to be the back of the vase. Start with a little bit of glue, and again, you wanna get as close to the edge as possible. So this will not only stick the rope to the vase, but it'll also stick the printed burlap to the vase at the same time. Trying to get as close to the edge and as straight as possible. Looks pretty good. I love it. this sweet little vase, I'm going to braid the macrame rope around it. So it's going to have this macrame, really boho style, which is very trendy and I absolutely love. So I measured the rope twice the width of the vase itself. Okay, so once, twice. Okay, you get that idea? And I need 12 in total. So I think that gives me 12 strands of macrame rope. Let me just take a quick count. That's 3, 6, 9, 12. Perfect. You're going to start in the center, but a little bit closer to the edge. And I'm going to grab 3 at a time. A bead of hot glue and press it in place. Hold it until it is secure. Okay, and then grab 3 more. And a little bead of glue. Okay, just like that. Okay. Here we go. So you're going to take 3 from the outer edge. You're going to lift up the next 3 cords. You're going to bring this one underneath. Okay. Then you're going to have these next 3 cords, put this one on top. Lift up these 3 cords and put this one underneath. Okay. So that's the first row. Now we're going to do the same thing over here, except for this time we lift this up, put it underneath, on top, and underneath. Okay. Grab the last 3 rows again on the bottom part here. And in this case, it goes underneath, on top. Okay, and then underneath. See the pattern that's starting to develop here? It's nice and neat. Try and keep it nice and neat. And if you're not quite following what I'm saying, when you actually do this project, it's gonna be very apparent to you which one goes over, which one goes under. And I think the biggest tip, because it's actually the first time I've tried this, is make sure you try and keep your cords in the 3 nice and straight and lined up. They want to twist all around, all over the place. So that's probably the biggest tip I could give. And pull snug, not too tight, but snug to keep a consistent braid. You can go loose, you can go tight, but whatever you start with, you should try to finish off with as far as how tight you pull the ropes or how tight your braid is going to be. All right, so what I've discovered here is I've glued this down and it's too wide. I want this to be more narrow, so I have a feeling I'm gonna have to pull this off a little bit, which my razor blade will come in handy with this. Just kind of pull off the glue. Because fortunately, hot glue comes off glass really easily. Pull this together tight. Perhaps. Put the hot glue where the braid really starts, where it's nice and tight. Okay, try that. Okay, so now I've got the hot glue right here underneath this part. Okay, and I need to join this part. So here we go. Yikes, I'm gonna cut this off. Okay, come back here and tidy up my braid so it's ready to wrap around the corner and be stuck in place. I found it much easier to braid when I added a little bit of glue at every single corner. It just basically held all the work that I had done already in place. So now I'm at where I had started and I need to make it look tidy, right? I don't want it to be all messy now that I'm finishing off. So what I'm doing is I'm taking each section, each 3 rope section, and going from the underside, actually putting a little bit of glue on each rope just to make sure that each rope has a little bit of glue, and pressing that into place. Trying to hide the rope from the beginning, which is right here. You can see a whole bunch of little of the fuzzies. Want to get rid of that. So take this next section here, put the 3 ropes together. Put a little dab, 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 not too much. Oops, ouch, that was hot. That's hot, 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 hot. Okay, and then this last section right here. Go. Pop that in place like that. Now, if all goes well, when I go to trim all of this, it'll hopefully look neat and tidy. Wait a minute. Before I cut, I better take a good look. Make sure I'm doing this okay. I think so. Might have to add a little bit of glue just to, you know, the ends are a little bit frayed, so I might have to add a little bit of glue just to kind of secure those in place, but I'm just going to go for it. I'm going for it. Here we go. Woo. I think what I'm going to do for that is, just to keep it from fraying, just going to add little pops, 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 pops of glue. Pop, 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 pop. Okay, go back to the credit card so I don't burn my fingers, and kind of flatten them down into place. There we go. That's cute. That's so cute. Okay, I have a confession. I'm really not very happy with this and how it all connected. I think it looks a little sloppy. So I've taken some of the leftover pieces that were cut off, and I put 4 of them together, and I twisted them, and I'm creating a little rosette. And the idea is I'm going to glue it in place to hide where this connected. I think it's going to look better. So now I'm almost done. So I'm just securing all of the frayed edges. Every time I twist and whatever which one is the shortest, I'm gluing it to the side and towards the back. So hopefully this last one will hide any of the frayed edges. And then that will glue right in place on there. Oh, that's so cute! I love it.